Hey everybody, it's Amanda here with Painted Purpose Coaching, and I wanted to do a really quick video about intelligence. How can we get smarter? I'm a metaphysical coach, and I've spent a lot of time researching a whole lot of different topics. And yes, I have clients that have all kinds of different things going on, but it's really important that I help them to understand them from a metaphysical level. Every time I work with people, I want them to know mind, body, soul, 3D, 5D, 7D. I want them to understand these things. And I don't know why I'm going up, because it's more like an expansion, right? When we go into different dimensions. But anyway, I've noticed that a lot of Gen Xers, and I'm a Gen X. A lot of people are complaining about, oh, this generation's dumb. They don't know, they don't know this or that. They are, it's like they keep saying that people get dumber as we go. And actually, there are studies and some things that show that to be true. A lot of it has to do with the educational system. Mind you, educational system's kind of new. We didn't always start out going to school. For thousands of years, kids didn't go to school. They did other things. They weren't sitting in a classroom in a desk being programmed all day long. So of course, you take a racehorse and ask it to sit in the corner all day, and it's going to buck some. And we call these things, we call them disabilities, or, tell somebody their brain is broken or something like that. And that's not necessarily true. Different people that have different things going on and think differently. There's so many different types of intelligences, and it's really just that they're neurodivergent, pretty much. They're just a little different, and that's okay, because there's more and more being born every single day. But back to the lecture at hand. I was going to say that, so many people, we're like really losing our intelligence because we're checking out of reality so much, and we're starting to use these devices constantly. We're spending hours and hours a day on these things, and telephones and TVs, and it's been going on for like 60 years or something like that now. A really long time, and several generations have been affected from where people are tuning out of their physical 3D world and going someplace else, and so when we start to do that, and then we start to automate all of our thinking processes through computer and all of our computing processes and things like that, and we're spending less time, more time being productive, more time working or going or doing instead of being, and then also not taking the time to do things that we're supposed to do in 3D, which turn on these thinking processes in our brain and connect all these neurotransmitters and all of that, then we are getting less intelligent. We really are. So we're losing it. So the more that we're on these devices, and as we head into the next 5 years even, AI is growing so quickly. It's growing really fast. So if we want to hang on to some shape and form of humanity, then we've got to install some of our own intelligence back, right? And run that program. I've just got a couple of ways to do that I wanted to mention. One is we need to make sure that that we start to have balance. If we are on the social media apps, if we are working on TVs and computers and all these things, those affect us. They affect our brain, and they affect our energy levels. So if we're going to do all that, then we need to be able to also go in the other direction and spend time doing these menial tasks, in these things. There's certain lessons in these things. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is cooking. Take your kids, your grandkids, and yourself, if you don't know how, go back in the kitchen, start playing with some dough, start baking bread, start making pastries, tarts, soufflés. All of these things have to do with chemistry, and they're so important. And for little kids, they're learning about ingredients and time and pressure and different properties and different aspects of things and how this affects that. And we're just smarter. But the biggest thing is that when we do these things, it turns on different parts of our brains that cause intelligence to happen, right? So get back in the kitchen. Let them play with the dough. You know, if I could give everybody in school a meat course and a pastry course or a baking course, just that alone would be enough to get them sparked in the right way and get these things going for them. Another thing, you know, because they're learning about time and pressure, right? And canning, for crying out loud. Canning is a great way to teach kids about, you know, physics and chemistry and things like that. It's amazing. So get back in the kitchen, you know, spend some time there and start doing some things like we used to. And it's good for their survival too. And you've got skills. Another thing is that we need to be outside gardening. We need to take the time to play in the dirt. The grounding, you know, playing in the earth and being outside is so grounding. It's so good for our energy. And it also teaches us a whole lot about organic chemistry. It teaches us a lot about, you know, making, well, I was going to say, you know, things like making booby traps, things like making bicycle ramps, and just, you know, all of these things give you a chance to tap into things and experience just on the tiniest scale, architecture and engineering and all of these things, right? These intelligences. And we miss out on those if we're sitting inside all the time playing video games. We don't get a chance to do any of that stuff. And you don't get any kind of result unless, you know, it's simulated in the game. So, and then that becomes somebody's drive and satisfaction instead of the real stuff, right? And it, you know, it's addictive and it taps in, it affects their dopamine receptors and things like that. But when you're outside, you know, which I guess can be addictive to be outside, but it's a good thing, you know, and you're getting rewarded and it's not hurting anybody and it's not turning on your lower or middle brain and lower brain. You know, you're not in survival mode, like in addiction mode. Do you know what I'm saying? So another thing is to be able to, you know, learn how to grow food is so crucial, especially as we are heading into, you know, this whole thing with the AI. And like I said earlier, it's growing so fast, but there's not going to be any, we're going to be out of jobs. So we've got to come up with some solutions because the bills are still rolling in, right? And another thing is that I'd like to mention is meditating. Meditating is so good for kids, and it's easy for them to learn because their imaginations haven't been wiped away by society, you know, or schooling. You know, they still can think and imagine and go inside and play in there, you know, and just be present. And it's so good for energy. If you've got kids that are born with any kind of neurodivergence, or if they were born with any kind of neurological disorders or any of that, this is going to rewire their brain. And what's really great is that you can learn pineal gland meditations more specifically and learn how to decalcify your pineal gland and also rewire your brain to work better. You know, those synapses that happen and everything's connecting. It's almost like it goes through like a broom and just cleans everything up and helps things rewire again. And it's great. It's great for your energy too. So those are just a few things that I wanted to mention. And if any of this video resonates with you, please like and share. And as always, I am here. You can DM me if you have any questions, or if you would like to start moving in a metaphysical direction and not only learn how to get smart again, but clean things up and run more efficiently. That's what coaching's for. So, and it's healing. So anyway, drop me a message, and like always, namaste, and talk to you soon.